What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for watching. I had a company reach out to me called Mosasaur. They manufacture lithium batteries for golf carts. They wanted me to do a product review on their battery. I agreed to do that. This will be my very first product review. Battery's sitting right there. I wanted to do this one because I've been wanting to eventually convert the golf cart to lithium, and I think it'll be a good learning opportunity for me, and I'll take you guys along with me and hopefully help a few of you out along the way if you're looking to do the same thing. So guys, as you can see, I've got lead acid batteries in here. They're only a couple of years old, 522, and they're in great shape. They're fully charged. I take care of them, and there's nothing wrong with the lead acid batteries that are in here, but as everyone knows, you have to maintain them. They require water. You've got to keep them on a charge, keep them maintained. There's just a lot of advantages to using lithium over lead acid. And one of the things, the obvious, is the weight. I don't know what this weighs, but we're probably close to 400 pounds right here. And that battery pack right there weighs 84 pounds. So, we're going to save probably around 300 pounds just in weight, and that's significant. Lithium will not drain while sitting. You don't have to keep them maintained. As we start losing a charge, then we start losing power, and lithium doesn't operate that way. You have a consistent voltage throughout the power range. As you lose power, if you're at 100% with lithium and you run it down to 20%, you have pretty much the same amount of power. So you get consistent power range. And then a lead acid battery, I don't know, you can charge these 800 to 1200 times depending on how you've taken care of them. And lithium, you should be able to charge a lithium pack, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 times. And then cost. This battery pack here that you see cost me around $750, $760 at Sam's Club. Today, I think they're a little higher after tax. You're probably pushing $800 to buy these 6 batteries at Sam's Club. A good Trojan battery system can run you anywhere from $1,200 to $1,600, depending on where you buy them. So lithium is a viable choice now. One word of caution, though, is lithium batteries scare me. They can be dangerous. They can explode. And if you get cheap batteries, you're just asking for trouble. And, make sure you buy a lithium from a trusted source. I think the company that I'm testing, I did a lot of research on them before I agreed to do this review. And they seem like a great company. So we'll see. But be careful about buying a $600 battery pack offline that claims to, be high amps and, have high quality cells. I'm not sure you can, if you're buying a 36 volt or a 48 volt battery pack for $600 with a plastic shell and they claim to be high quality, A-rated cells, I'm just not sure you can get that. I would be skeptical. I don't know enough about it to tell you not to do it. I'm just skeptical. You get what you pay for. You can get into overheating issues. The battery pack needs to have safety features on it. If you don't have A-rated cells, if you don't have high quality cells, a lithium pack will not last. It may do fine out of the box on your first few test rides, the first couple of years even, but high quality cells will last for years. Low quality cells will not. And low quality cells can be dangerous. So I'm sure that most people watching this video have not seen my channel before as far as the rebuild on this cart. So let me just go through it before we get into the battery install. I had this motor built by Plum Quick. I wish I could tell you all the specs on it. I just don't know. But it's supposed to have 30% more torque, 30% more horsepower. However, I have a limiting factor. I have a cheap controller on it. So I need me a nice All-Trax or equivalent type controller. But I cheaped out and I put a cheap 350 amp Chinese made controller on here. It's like $120 for this controller. And I have a video on my channel showing that controller. It actually works very well. With this battery pack, lead acid, and that controller, I have no problem. I know I'm limiting the power to my motor, but It's doing very well. I have a new solenoid on it. And then I have, this is a new forward control switch, but it's the old style. So, you know, a lot of heat builds up there. I want to convert that to a relay at some point. All the wiring is new. I got heavy gauge welding wire on here. The cart has all new components on it. So the question is, can we drop in a 36-volt lithium battery pack and just replace the lead acid and everything work the same? We should be able to. All right, a look around the box. A little bit of damage to the box there. There's some damage over here. There's a little bit of damage there at the top. And then some damage on that corner there. Hope that didn't hurt anything. There's a company, well, should I call out the company that shipped it? I won't call the company out, but it ends in an X. Nice branding. Mosasaur. There's a prehistoric creature called Mosasaurus. Maybe they named it after that. I don't know. Wiring diagram looks simple enough. Like the wiring for the charger. Nuts and bolts, protective covers. Charger, that's really heavy. The battery appears to be in good condition. Has plenty of padding around it, so got your positive, negative blocks there. It looks like a communications cable. I'm assuming that's on and off. And another, that's for the monitor, I guess. Haven't seen the monitor. Well, there's the monitor. So it's about 13 inches wide and 17 inches long, around 9.5, I guess, tall. Let's put a meter on it and see what we get out of the box. You can see that. 39.6. So guys, it looks to be quality. Definitely has the weatherproofing on it. Steel case. These brackets are welded on. So just a few of the specs. 38.4, 105 amp hours. Nominal voltage is 38.4. Standard discharge 100A. Let's say this was produced September the 12th, 2024. 25 amp current charging. That's a lot of amps for charging. So 5-year warranty, lithium ion. It's got the IP65 weatherproofing on it. Something I'm really happy about. I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't buy a battery pack without that designation. Let's see, up to 140 Fahrenheit down to -4 degrees. Probably not a good idea to keep it in the cold weather. Maintenance free, fast charge. Powerful acceleration. Okay, before we remove the batteries, the lead acid batteries, let's get a baseline. I want to take the card out, put it on the GPS, and let's see our top speed. We'll do a couple of hill climbs and film that, and then we'll compare it to the lithium battery when we get it installed. So I'll keep the batteries maintained. They're fully charged. We'll just check the voltage. And it's showing, you can see that, 39.3. This is the test on lead acid batteries. My handy dandy key there. And it is plenty powerful on lead acid. Sorry about the camera angle. GPS going. Okay, so the first test is how fast it pulls this hill. This is a really steep hill right here. Nine mile an hour, 10 at the top. Now let's just do a regular speed. That was about 21, I think, is the highest we got it. 19 miles an hour coming back the other way. That was slightly uphill coming back the other way, just very slightly though. And now I'm going to switch to a different GPS app just to make sure. A little faster on that app. So that's fairly consistent. This hill right here is going to be a really good test for that lithium. I don't know if you can see, it kind of drops to the right and it's pretty steep. So I think 10 miles an hour is the fastest we can come up this hill, 10 or 11. All right guys, the first step is to get these lead acid batteries out. So I'm not going to film that, that's boring, so I'll be right back. Okay guys, I got the batteries out and I did weigh them. They're over there. I weighed them, they're about 60 pounds a piece, so that's 360 pounds total lead acid battery weight versus 84 pounds, so that brings it to 275, 276. We're gonna save about 275 pounds getting rid of those lead acid. The elephant in the room with lithium battery manufacturers trying to make these battery packs. So there's so many different variations of, you got E-Z-Go, Club Cart, Yamaha, they all have different, battery configurations. This old E-Z-Go system, 36 volts, pretty easy, it's just a square box. Now there's a couple things we can do here. Let me tell you the easiest way to do it, and then I'll tell you how I'm going to do it. So this tray, you can see I replaced it. It's an aluminum tray. If you had this aluminum tray and you're in the situation that I'm in now, you could just grind out. There's a little weld here and here, a couple over there. Should be real easy with a grinder. And you can pop this middle piece out. Then you just have a square box. And then go get some 3/4 inch marine grade plywood, put down in there, set the battery on top of it. Should be good to go. Fasten the battery down. But the way I'm going to do it, I have some angle iron back here in my stash. So this is 3/4 inch angle iron I was doing a project with. I wish I had 1 inch, but I don't have 1 inch. I got a little piece of it right here just to show you. I'm going to grind these battery hold down pieces off to get it flat, and I'm gonna run this angle iron across on each side. So I'll set it up. This is just for demonstrations. It'll be a longer piece, but I'll drill through, longer bolt, come through here, so I can fasten it here. I can fasten it in the middle if I want, but each end should be fine. And then the battery will sit on top of it, and then I'll be able to drill through there, get a bolt down through there, a couple of them, and hold that battery. I got plenty of bolts and stuff to use to fasten it down. Well, I've got some bolts that came with the battery. Making sure I don't have any height issues with the battery. We know the battery's about 9.5. and that's gonna be fine. So that's roughly how they'll mount in there, and then we'll be able to set the battery in, and then we'll have our terminals on this side. It's about, I could go a little more over this way if I needed to. I may do that to give a little more room here. So I'm actually going to start this piece against this far side, and then that'll bring this battery to about right here. Give me a little bit more room to work, just a couple more inches. But it'll still be pretty much dead center, just slid over a couple inches. That one was a little tough to drill out. I had to come through both pieces of aluminum and this piece of steel. It comes around and does an L. You can see that. I won't have that problem over here. Matter of fact, over here we just got one piece to come through. That should cut like butter. Guys, this is a shout out to Ryobi, and I'm not affiliated with Ryobi. They're not sponsoring me, but you know, I've been a Ryobi user since the beginning, probably, I don't know, 20, 30 years, until I've got the old blue tools that still work. I converted to lithium years ago. You can see I can't break this, I've tried, but I've got my original Ryobi that came with the very first set when they first came out, and it still works fine. I still use it. That angle grinder, I can't kill it. All right, guys, if we are lucky, the battery's gonna sit right down into there. Let's try it. And that worked. Worked out just fine. I've got plenty of room here to work. It'd be ideal if I had aluminum angle iron and then stainless steel bolts, but I don't, and I don't live in a real salty area, or a golf cart stays here in this garage, so I don't anticipate too much rust. I could have painted those, probably should have. All right, so I have these brackets tightened down now, this angle iron. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the battery back out. I have it marked. I'm gonna go here and here on each side with the bolts. Give you a better look at the controller while the battery's out of it. That's that cheap Chinese 350 amp controller. And then the new, or relatively new, I put it in a couple of years ago, that forward control switch. So this will be deleted. That's the next thing I'm going to do. Put a relay system in and get rid of all this. So we'll be able to regain some power. There's a lot of, well, there's some power loss through this forward control switch. because it's all contacts and you know they're not that tight. A lot of heat builds up in here, and yeah, we'll see if that controller holds up. But there'll be another controller there eventually. My motor can do a lot more than what that controller will allow it to do. There's a hose drilled there. A lot of the hardware here, you just have to go through. These 4 larger ones here, looks like they'll go for the battery hold down. The problem with that is these are too long over here where I put this bracket, so we can't get a nut on there. So I'm going with some of my own bolts. They're not stainless steel, but they'll work. And then I think these 2 here are for the power poles. Some of these smaller ones may be for the charger. Some other things we'll find out. Okay, I got the battery bolted down. It was really tough getting that nut under there. I only had about an inch to work with, but it's all good. Got to mention earlier, I intentionally left some room back here. Maybe we can mount something back there. I actually could have come on over with it a little more this way. I had to leave a little room here for this mechanical forward reverse for now. Once that's deleted, I can actually move it over just a little bit if I need to. And we got a lot of room back here, maybe for an inverter, something like that, or a 12-volt converter. All right, now we get into some wiring, and this is basically all you get for wiring diagram. It's very self-explanatory. You just follow everything that you're mounting, but it's pretty much, you know, plug and play as far as from going from the lead acid batteries to the lithium. Remember, none of this changes, so all I'm taking is my positive and negative leads, the battery, eventually. I want to make sure I get everything else done and hooked up first. There's a wiring harness we'll have to take over up to the dash. If we want that screen, we'll have to wire in the charger and then the communication cables. But don't let all this intimidate you, folks. Not that it probably will, most of you, but you know, if you've never done any wiring or anything before, or if you don't know anything about your golf cart, you should be able to figure this out. Next, we mount the charger. Okay, so for the onboard charger, I've got a nice little area here on this side of the cart to mount it in with a solid plate here. So I can just mount it here. And then, let's see, this side of the charger, that is the input for the actual charger. That's this attachment here. It plugs in, and then this part here mounts like a regular golf cart through here, somewhere through there. And then you've got the other side here that matches it, that just plugs into your receptacle. And let's see, on this other side, there's a few cables. This one cable here will be, this goes to the battery, to the positive and negative. And then there's another attachment here. That's a communication cable. It goes to the battery for the comms back to the charger. And then the last one here is an LED indicator. So it indicates 100%, 80%, or 100%, above 80%, or below 80%. So I assume those light up. That might be handy to have. We are running the screen, so maybe you use this if you're not running the screen. I don't know, we'll do both. We can mount this somewhere here so we can see it, or we can come up. I've got enough, yeah, I'll have enough cable to come up to the dash, and we can put it on the dash somewhere. So then what's left, once we get the charger mounted, that took half the wiring away right there just with the charger. So we got 2 cables left. This is a display communication cable. So that's easy. That plugs into the battery. And then the other half plugs into the screen. And then we have a charging communication cable. Yeah, that's the other part of the charger. So actually, once you get the charger mounted, you got 1 cable left. That's just the screen. This receptacle that I need to mount, this charging receptacle. So it mounts like, you know, it would feel like your regular golf cart, and you know, you'd want to mount it, you know, through the wall to be able to plug in your charger. The problem I've got with that is I have this bracket. This is an old easy go medalist. So it has this bracket support system that runs up through here. That's needed. It comes up to another bracket under here. So can't touch that. This other bracket coming down, I'll probably cut that off. I'm not gonna need that anymore. This bracket here. All right, now I've got some room there. Let's see, I don't need much. So that's what I've got to work with. It's been years since I've used a jigsaw, but it worked. It looks horrible, but it'll all be hid. All right, so I've got the holes drilled. All right, that's done. All right, battery charger's in and bolted down. Now we can start the wiring. All right, so I got the charging cable in, got it dressed out. I've got the battery leads, or the leads that come from the charger to the battery. I just got them kind of draped around here. I'll dress them out to the frame, or the battery tray frame right through there. And then now I'm going to take this comms cable. It'll plug in to this here, and then I'll run it around to the front. And then we need to, this is the connection to that LED that we looked at earlier. I'm going to see if I can't find a path to get it up to the dash, or figure out what we want to do with that. Well, I decided to put the indicator light right here next to the switch. We'll put it right over the safety instructions. Well, that is metal, that plate, not plastic, just FYI. That step bit made easy work out of it. All right, so I got that indicator mounted up, and then I ran the wiring for it. You can see it there. So I decided to mount the display on this side right here. I'll mount it there. I can't mount it over there in that pocket because the steering wheel blocks it. I can't see. I really don't want it out here blocking the cup holders. I don't want it up here. So we'll just tuck it in right here. I'll be able to mount it there. Should be fine. All right, I got the monitor mounted. And then I just came down. I was able to, there's no way to get bolts or anything in there. I just used some wood screws, went down into that plastic. It's holding just fine. And then you'll see, cut a hole back there in the very back of that glove compartment for the communications cable. I'll throw some silicone in that, if it even needs it. But I had to do it at the very back of that box because this is metal right there. I can only get out the back of it. Your cart may be different. So now I'll get that routed under there. There's some other cables going under there for the ignition. So I'm just gonna follow that through, bring it up here. I know I'm being detailed, guys. Most of you will skip right through all of this and just go to the ending, see how it actually worked. But just in case, if you're doing this step by step, I'm being a little bit detailed. That way, if you get stuck somewhere, I can maybe try to help you a little bit. It's a learning process for me as well. All right, guys, we're getting real close. So I've got the hot negative hooked up. I've not turned the battery on. That's the battery switch there. And I've just got the comms cable dressed out. Remember, this goes to the control or the charger. So about to get that plugged up. And then I've got the communication cable that goes to the monitor. And then I'll plug that up, and then we'll power the battery up and see what happens. You guys remember, if you're just very new to this, all I did on the hot side and negative was just hook up, and none of this changed, remember that. So I just took my hot hooked it up, my negative, and hooked it up. These are the same two cables that were hooked to the lead acid pack. So I haven't done anything on this side. It's all the same. And then down here, I just took the opportunity, since I had this extra piece, to pull up my cables that go to the motor. I cut them a little bit long way back a couple of years ago, and I put that motor in. They were kind of hanging down, so I just kind of dressed them up a little bit. All right, guys, I think I've got everything hooked up. Let's power the battery up and see what happens. Oh, screen comes on, says we got 55%. Stand by. $39.48 volts. Let me turn the ignition on. See if we got power. Yep, cart moves. It's a good sign. I guess that indicator is going to be a charge meter. That's what that is. I was confused. I thought that was going to be a real-time indicator, and it's not. So actually, that's why the cable was shorter, because we should have mounted it next to the charger here. Yeah, it really shouldn't go on the dash, but we put it on the dash. We're bucking the trends. It makes a whole lot more sense now. Should have put it about right there. That's all right. Guys, I think we are about done. So I want to go ahead and let it charge up. We could take it for a drive now. We might do that. All right, guys, I just took it to the end of the driveway just to make sure everything's working. I didn't want to go too far with it only being about 50% battery, so it did fine. It actually spun the tires backing out, because I'm not used to that power, so it definitely has better takeoff power. Seemed to have a little more power going up the hill as well, so we'll find out once it gets fully charged and I can drive it. It says time to full charge is 2 hours and 5 minutes. All right, guys, it's been about a week now, and we had a few snow days. I was filming, let the battery charge overnight. It came up to 100%, and then we had about 6 inches of snow, so I couldn't get out and test it. I've moved it around the driveway here a couple times, just playing with it here in the garage, and I've got it down to 97%, but it was at 100%, so it charged up fine. Everything's good. You can see the different screens here. I'm not sure if I showed you that before. The balancing, it all looks good. Let's take it out, take it for a spin. Let's do the comparison on the speed test. One thing that I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention before is that Plum Quick motor. When I had it built, it's supposed to add 30% more speed. So if you notice on that first speed test, we were hitting some close to 20 miles an hour. So that's why this old series motor, it probably will only do about 15 miles an hour on the stock motor. But again, this one's built, so we'll see if we get any more speed with the lithium battery, maybe. But what I'm really looking for is more torque up hills, because man, she is a dog up hills. Even with that built motor, it just couldn't handle the hills. It's the first time she's able to spin tires. I know that's in reverse, but that's pretty cool. So I think it'll do this hill at 15. There's a lot of, well, you can't see it, there's a lot of salt they put down for the snow, and I keep this is a really good hill here as well. Guys, it is running really strong. So that 27 you saw was going downhill slightly. Well, wow. My old front end really can't take that. It's too loose. If I can get some traction here. So guys, wow, that is a lot of extra torque and speed. So if you want to see a bench top load test on this battery, there's a YouTuber, it's DIY Homestead Projects, I think that's it. I'll put that link below and you can check that out. He did a very good review on this battery and put it under some pretty heavy loads and tested the drain and all on it. So highly recommend that video. All right guys, before we go, it's about a week later and I just wanted to kind of show this before I end the video. I'm at 85% now on the battery. I still haven't charged it, and I went around the block a couple of more times, climbed a couple of big hills, just out doing some joyriding. It's about 45 degrees today, so the weather's much better. I've been able to enjoy the cart. Guys, I absolutely love this battery. My power gains going up hills are just incredible from what it was from the lead acid batteries. It's with the lead acid batteries, if you've been in your old series motor golf cart, as you climb a long hill, you just get slower and slower and slower. You know, the power is there, but you get slower and slower and slower. Not with this. You got that consistent power up the hills, and it's just awesome. And the power on the power gains on the straightaways are good. Instant power when you start. I'm actually still squealing the tires when I go in reverse. So, and then another big thing for me is I just got back from a ride. This forward control switch, this is a heat source. It always builds heat the way that this switch operates. And with the lead acid batteries on this forward control switch, I couldn't put my hand on it. It was too hot to hold. Sometimes it'll burn the cable. Some carts on these forward control switches, you got to watch them. They'll kind of melt down. But not with this lithium battery, and I'm not sure why. I'm more of a consistent power output, I guess. But I can hold my hand. I just came back from riding it. I can hold my hand on it, and it's warm, but it's not hot. So it doesn't build any heat. Another heat source is right here at the controller, but now it's actually cold. So I'm not losing power through heat management. So anytime you have a source of, if you can't hold your hand on it, you're losing power. That's why it gets hot. But not with this battery. Nothing's getting overly hot. But guys, I'm in love with the lithium. I'll never go back to lead acid battery again. Definitely lithium is the way of the future. I love the system. I highly recommend it. And this is a good middle of the road price point. And it's definitely what I'll order next time I'm rebuilding a cart. And certainly I'll recommend it to others. So guys, if I've helped you, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, guys.